Feeling overwhelmed? I got you. Stick around and we're gonna talk about how to deal with being overwhelmed. Hey guys, welcome back. It's Missy, and if you're watching this, you most likely are stressed, frustrated, and probably procrastinating. What's most likely going on is that you have a whole bunch of stuff you need to get done, and it's all jumbled up in your brain, and you feel overwhelmed, you don't know how to start, and you either are starting things and not finishing, or you are becoming paralyzed. Because sometimes when we get overwhelmed, we can become paralyzed, and then we start beating ourselves up, and we don't know where to go from there. When we have a lot of things going on and we feel overwhelmed, our fight, flight, or freeze can kick in. So what may happen with you is that you may freeze in these stressful situations. You may get very irritated. You may feel like you need to fight, or you may completely avoid it. The things we stress about now are much different than we did hundreds and hundreds of years ago. When we were stressed in like the caveman times, we genuinely had to fight for our life. And now life isn't like that. We're not afraid of being attacked by bears unless you're living in the middle of nowhere, which if you are, I don't know how you came across this video, but shout out to the wilderness people. But things we're stressed about now are more revolved around our living situations, like in our homes, our relationships, our work, things we need to get done, our goals. Those are things that we more so get stressed about now. And still our fight or flight still kicks off in those situations, and we still deal with things in the same exact manner. So if you are becoming paralyzed in situations, just know you're not lazy, you're not dumb, you just are feeling overwhelmed and your fight or flight and freeze is kicking off. First thing is, it's important that you don't beat yourself up and you don't be negative towards yourself. So a lot of times when we get overwhelmed, we can start to beat ourselves up, we feel like a failure, we start to doubt ourselves. So it's really important you be careful of that self-talk and you make sure that you are not doing that. You want to work on ways to ease your anxiety rather than intensify it. Imagine you are trying to help a child learn how to walk. If you are consistently yelling at that child and telling them they're not doing it well enough and they should have already ran by now, they're not going to want to walk. They already feel defeated. That's how you treat yourself every time you put yourself down for not being at the place where you want to be. You are setting yourself up for that failure, and it's causing you to not want to do those things. So that's added stress to you feeling already overwhelmed. You are adding pressure to yourself that you don't need. So you need to find ways to relieve that pressure. So make sure you're talking to yourself the way that you would talk to a friend. And recognize when you're saying anything negative to yourself or putting yourself in any sort of way, and say, hey, I'm not going to talk to myself like this. It's not helpful. During this self-talk, it's really important that you focus on the things that you're trying to complete rather than the things that you did not complete. Your focus is so important. So if you recognize yourself, your mind starts drifting to focus on other things, bring yourself back to what you're doing. That's kind of similar to retraining your brain from feeling overwhelmed and feeling like you need to be the best and you need to complete everything. So you literally need to talk to yourself and say, hey, okay, we will get that done, but first we're gonna focus on this. First, I'm gonna vacuum before I go to the next thing. So you be in the moment, you be mindful, you try to stay present. Another thing that I always tell my clients, should is a bad word. I tell my clients, whenever I hear them say should, I say, nope, that's a bad word. Should is literally putting yourself and telling you what you should have done. And so it's another form of beating yourself up. So what is important to say instead is, I'm going to, or I get to. So you make it a future action that you're going to do rather than putting yourself down. It's moving forward rather than looking backward. That's the first thing. So make sure that you are very positive towards yourself and you are very nurturing and comforting towards yourself. It's okay, you're overwhelmed. You're gonna get through it. The next thing that may really help is to journal. So what's happening is everything is kind of scrambled in your mind. You don't know where to start, and you may start things, like I said, you may start things and you may not be able to finish. So you have a whole bunch of half unfinished projects done. So it's really helpful for you to write everything that's on your mind. Because something that you may be struggling with is prioritizing and knowing what needs to be done. And also sometimes you may get in this sense of helplessness because maybe there's certain things that you don't know what to do about. And sometimes we can get in this completionist attitude where you're not able to move forward until this one thing is complete. So what you need to do is you need to write out everything that's on your mind, all the things you need to get done. Then the next thing that will be helpful for you to do is to write the solution to each thing that you're overwhelmed about. So if you're overwhelmed about something that's completely out of your control, then you most likely need to change the way you think about it, or you need to understand that maybe it's something that you can't take care of in this moment. Like maybe it's something it's in the future you need to take care of, but you can't take care of it now. You need to change your mindset and also understand and honor the fact that you can't take care of that right now and that it's okay. And you need to accept the fact that it is out of your control. So with this feeling of helplessness, you may not know what the next move to take. So then you may completely avoid that thing, but then you feel really bad about it. And you are just sitting there feeling overwhelmed, feeling helpless, not knowing what to do. So what will help is by writing the solution to each thing, because we want to help you to feel empowered. So you want to help yourself to feel empowered. And by writing the solutions to each of your situations, that will fight against that helplessness feeling, and it will give you the sense of, I can take care of this, I can do this. Now the next thing is that you want to break things up for yourself, and you don't want to give yourself too much at once. So what helps is, like, for instance, if you have that completionist attitude, what may help is if you give yourself a little star, you give yourself a little check mark. So break things up. So maybe give yourself 3 things to do at a time. And then once you complete those things, you can add from the additional extra list. And once you complete it little by little, you will feel like you accomplished things. And it's really important that you praise yourself and say, good job, you accomplished this. So that way you are able to move forward. Because if you're consistently putting yourself down, you have nothing to work with. You're not gonna want to do anything, because what's the point? You feel terrible. You have that mentality of it's not good enough. So you want to be able to break things down, to be able to feel like you're able to move forward, rather than you feel like you are just stuck and you are helpless and you can't do anything. So how to deal with being overwhelmed is to first be very gentle with yourself and be aware of your self-talk, and make sure that you are being positive towards yourself and you being very nurturing and comforting, and you make sure you're not putting yourself down. That's the first thing. Second thing is to journal everything that's on your mind, get it all out. And then the next thing is to write down the solutions to each of your problems, even if that solution is that you need to change your mindset. Then break down the things you need to do in different parts, and make sure that you give yourself praise, and you give yourself a little star, you give yourself a little check mark, and you make sure you feel good about those things you accomplished and not focus on the things you didn't. What do you guys think? How do you deal with being overwhelmed? Or maybe let me know about some things you're overwhelmed about. Leave it all in the comments below. And please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and share with someone that you think may need it. Until next time, thanks for watching. Bye, guys. Feeling overwhelmed? I got you. Stick around and we're gonna talk about how... Ow, my butt. Hey guys, it's Missy. Oh, there's hair in this lip gloss. Sometimes lip gloss is not popping. You need to journal everything that's on your mind, all of the things that are on your mind. Sorry about the lighting before. I just realized my face was so dark. Hopefully you can see me better now. They should have already been run. Another thing that I always tell my clients, I'm cutting that out, oh my god.